So I should be asking.
Hello. Happy Wednesday to you, middle of the week. This is Amy Winstead, and welcome to Living in Spring Hope. Introduce you to my husband, Bob Winstead, over here, my fellow realtor and development partner.
Hello. Good to meet you.
So, the reason that we're starting this YouTube channel is really just to answer questions, give knowledge, and really explain what's going on in Spring Hope, which is located in Nash County, east of Raleigh, North Carolina, and just start making people very familiar, make ourselves accessible to help people decide if this might be a great place for them to live. So, in our first episode today, we're going to get into the nitty gritty as we move along, but as we first get started, we just really want to talk about why Spring Hope, why Nash County, and what's special about this area that's just east of Raleigh. So, Bob, when we first decided to buy land and put in roads and create new neighborhoods, what really brought us out that way?
Probably the first thing was affordability. And then after affordability, we looked at access to not only Raleigh, but commerce that was close, hospitals that were accessible, to make sure that if it's affordable, can you also get to the things that you need to get to daily or weekly, like grocery stores, hospitals, theaters, entertainment, and whatnot. And this just seemed to fit all the bills. It was just a perfect location.
I mean, you brought up accessibility. And one thing that really triggered me is if you already live in the Triangle area, a lot of areas are accessible through 4-lane roads, but that they have stoplights like every half mile. Areas that come to mind that I love: Wake Forest, Youngsville, Franklinton, North. That's where we live. Love the area. But as you're trying to travel and get back into Raleigh, you hit a stoplight literally every half mile. And the traffic is almost like the people came before the infrastructure was ready for them. And we've heard rumors about how Capitol Boulevard that accesses those areas north of Raleigh might become exit ramps instead of roads. And that's what's needed. Well, in Spring Hope, that's what's already there. And so that's one thing that I know I personally loved, is the infrastructure came before the people. That's a really big deal if you're commuting like into Raleigh every day. So when you leave downtown Raleigh, you can hit Highway 64. And when you get up towards Zebulon, it breaks off into 264 to the right to Wilson, 64 to the left to Rocky Mount. That triangle right there that makes up most of Nash County is a triangle of Highway 64, Highway 264, and then Highway 95, actually I-95 north to south. That triangle is really where Nash County sits. And it is so accessible to get anywhere you need around the triangle with zero stoplights. That's what I love. So what's the commute, Bob? Like 35 minutes?
Yeah, it's about 35 minutes. Another thing that is fun and that we think about is having 3 kids and serving the community like we do. We always think about other people's American dream. And if you want to live in a place like Raleigh, it's hard to have a yard. It's hard to have the house of your dreams. I mean, what's available?
Or the house and the yard.
Correct. And in Spring Hope, instead of living in an apartment with families on top of you and below you and to both sides, or a condominium, or a starter home to where you can't get out of the shower without making sure your blinds are closed. Now you can have the house of your dreams, and you can know that your neighbor's not looking in your window.
Hopefully.
Well, if they are, they're doing it with a telescope.
Right? Call the sheriff.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. But you're able to have a little space that you may or may not be able to afford in Raleigh.
Yeah. So that's what really drew us to Spring Hope. What drew us to development in general is the need for affordable housing. And when I say affordable, I'm not even talking about low income or things like that. I'm talking about the normal American family and the affordability to be able to buy something that's not 50, 60% of your take home pay. And as more people move to the area and Raleigh grows, new construction is what's needed to keep up with the demand so that the pricing can stay where it needs to be. So with that, builders need to build homes. Well, a builder cannot build a home without having a building lot to put that home on. And so one thing we were finding as our relationships and our community and fellowship grew with builders is really hard to find building lots. And a builder could go out and maybe find a 1 acre lot on the side of a 2-lane country road highway, but that didn't allow for a neighborhood, a place where kids can ride their bikes or a grandmother can walk her dog. And so the need to create building lots for builders was huge. And Bob and I saw that need and said, what if that became our main focus? What if we found large pieces of raw land, went and got everything approved with the county, put in the infrastructure, the roads, the mailbox kiosks, the neighborhood signage, and then supplied building lots to these builders so that they have a place to go and homeowners have a place to go and choose without going through an 8-month to a year process of getting something approved with the county. And that was just a big need, and that's what really drew us to do what we're doing with development. So Bob, that's why Spring Hope, and that's why we're building lots and creating neighborhoods. What else would we like people to do?
Yeah, well, another thing that we thought of, and we call it internally responsible development, is there's certainly a housing need. Right now, there is an affordability, I don't want to say crisis, but certainly affordability is a need. But we're North Carolinians. This is home to us. Our kids were raised here. We love the state. We love Spring Hope. We love the individual communities. So we didn't want to be a developer that went into communities and didn't think about the neighbors who are already there. And we've seen by people doing it the wrong way that putting in an apartment complex, which, like you mentioned, Amy, didn't, if the infrastructure's
Or
not
cookie
there,
cutter homes.
or or whatever. There's like farmers, right? They want their land, they want their space. That's how they've always lived. So we kind of canvass the neighborhoods or the land that we find, and try to build friendships and let people know that, hey, when we come in, we're not putting multifamily homes here. We're not building on top of each other. We want to be respectful to your land, your ancestors' land, and we want this to be a development that you're proud of. So that is something that we certainly pay attention to. And again, our word for it is responsible development.
That reminds me, even when we were getting our last piece of land for the Hollow, that's coming up, new neighborhood, the Hollow in Spring Hope. When we were going through the rezoning and the approval process with Nash County, is a public hearing where people can come out and speak. And guys, we had the neighbors speaking in agreement and pro what we were doing instead of people coming out fighting it. And that was such a cool thing. And I'll quickly explain why. Our land that we purchased is 25 acres off of West Old Spring Hope Road in the Fraser Crossroads area of Nash County. Roughly 2-3 miles from US 64 and a 35-minute commute to downtown Raleigh with no stoplights. That was my quick plug there for the Hollow. So when we were getting everything approved, the land was A1, which is an agricultural zoning. In that zoning, all the neighbors knew that like 1,000 different things could come there. It's a huge, wide open option. And there were some really bad ones, from hog farms to explosive factories to what, Bob, gun ranges. And so we were trying to get 3/4 acre to 1 acre home sites, nothing little. We wanted nice large yards. And the neighbors were like, we would much rather see the zoning changed to where they can have 1 acre home sites than to have the option of anything else that could come into this land. So for that reason, and because they're doing it responsibly and not cutting down all the trees and putting up homes every 0.19 acre, we're in agreement with this. And this is something we would rather see than the alternative. So we had at least two that I can think, actually three that I can think of, neighbors that showed up in person to speak good on our behalf. And that just feels good, to do things that are going to benefit people and not when people see you coming, they're mad about something, right? So,
That's right. That's right.
yeah, so all of our home sites have well and septic. We don't do the city water sewer where you're going to have little tiny lots. We do not touch our lots. We let the builders and the homeowners decide what trees stay, where the home goes. All we literally do is put in the roads and infrastructure and then give the builders and the homeowners total decisions over how they want the landscape of their lots to look. So that is who we are. It's what we do. It's why we develop in Spring Hope in the Nash County area. We're finishing up one neighborhood now that is called the Village of Old Spring Hope. So our next videos are going to be really highlighting that neighborhood. We're on the tail end of it. We only have 6 home sites available, one cottage that's still available. It's probably going to be sold this week. And so I'm going to highlight the 4 homes that will be ready here in the next couple months. They're in framing. They have roofs, drywall's going in, and y'all, they're beautiful. Most of them are 1-story with a bonus room upstairs on really large lots. Just gorgeous homes, wonderful builders. So I'm going to do a video on every single one of those homes, walk you through it, talk to you about the builders, show you where it's located. And we'll also do videos where we're talking about what's available for commerce in Spring Hope, Nashville, Zebulon, all those areas that are right around, where we're building. And so we're going to talk about 2 building lots that are still available by Hornet Homes in the Village of Old Spring Hope, where you can custom build, choose your plan, and they'll build for you in 150 days from permits. So that's something that's really going to be a lot of fun as well. And then the 3 homes that are available that are in framing, and then the 3 homes that are available in framing are Orchid Construction. So we're going to go through each one of those one by one and really detail each home. And then our next neighborhood coming up is the Hollow. I mentioned it earlier. Yeah, we're really excited about this one. And the roads go in when, Bob?
I think they're going to begin hopefully in about 3 weeks.
Yeah,
Right.
3 weeks. Barbara's grading's doing our grading and our road work. We're so excited to have met Wyatt and the work he's going to do for us. He says that it's going to take him 4 to 5 weeks to be completely done. So if we start in 3 to 4 weeks, we're done in a month. We're looking at 60 days for finished roads, which gives us just enough time to sell out of the Village of Old Spring Hope. And I do need to give one other quick plug just to let you know things that are coming up. We have a neighborhood in Zebulon called Chapel Creek. Absolutely gorgeous homes, well over $1 million. These are luxury homes that every year we have at least one home in that neighborhood that's in the parade of homes. And we'll have that again this year with East Coast Construction. That is at 3800 Peaceful Creek Trail. And then Uriah Dortch with Hoken Design Build has 3 homes going up in Chapel Creek. So we have 4 very high-end luxury homes going in Chapel Creek. If that's something you're looking for, we're going to highlight each one of those homes. And even though Zebulon's Wake County and not Nash County, it's still east of Raleigh. So it's still kind of our wheelhouse of what we do, focusing on east of Raleigh, eastern Wake County, northern Johnson County, all of Nash County, and then we'll go into Wilson County a little bit as well here in the future. So thank you for joining us. We appreciate the time just getting to know us as we do our kickoff video to let you know what it's going to really be focused on. And then we'll move much more into specific home sites, what's for sale, how much they cost, the features they have. We'll highlight our builders. We'll talk about where to do commerce in the Nash County, east of Raleigh area. And we would just love for you to follow along. So stay tuned. And Bob, any final thoughts there?
So have a great day and look forward to seeing you next time.
Yep. See you later, guys.